Dandy escapes from marriage. Chapter 7. The two of them bought some vegetable seeds again, then filled their stomachs at a wonton stall by the roadside. Thin skin, rich filling with a thin layer of oil floating on the soup sprinkled with green onions for garnish. Lu Shu had never thought that the wontons by the roadside had such a great charm, making him finish even the soup. As he put down the bowl, licking his lips with lingering satisfaction, he suddenly realized that the person sitting across from him was gone. He looked around, but there was no sign of Shen Cao. Surprised, he asked the shopkeeper, "Where's the person who was sitting with me just now?" "Wasn't he sitting with you?" the shopkeeper asked in confusion. "Yet, where did he go?" Lu Shu pointed to the empty seat and asked. "If nothing unexpected happened, he probably left when you weren't paying attention," the shopkeeper speculated. "Analyzing it so well, you should be a detective," Lu Shu said with dull eyes. "I know, he probably skipped out on the bill." The shopkeeper suddenly realized, then stared at Lu Shu, afraid that he might also run away. "You should settle the money first." "Who's skipping out on the bill?" "You're looking down on me, hey?" Lu Shu snorted as he reached into his pocket and then patted his waist where the money pouch should be. He cleared his throat and said casually, "I haven't finished eating yet. I'll pay later." "Can I have another bowl of soup? Oh, is the soup free?" The shopkeeper looked at him in disbelief. Lu Shu pointed to the chicken coop and said, "I won't run away. The chicks are all here, and I can't bear to leave them behind." The shopkeeper reluctantly scooped a bowl of clear soup for him. He drank it very slowly, constantly scanning the crowd, nervously shaking his leg. The uneasy feeling spread in his heart. Could he really have skipped out on the bill? Could it be that the guy who took him in, treated his injuries, cooked for him, and gave him the money pouch, was all just a lead-up to this grand escape? Nah, impossible. Lu Shu dispelled his doubts as soon as he thought of the other person's righteous appearance and continued to drink the soup. Xiao Wu. Upon hearing the familiar voice, he instantly looked up and saw Shen Cao walking quickly towards him. He sighed in relief. "Where did you go? How could you leave without a word?" "I told you," Shen Cao blinked innocently, "it's just that you were eating too loudly and didn't hear me." Cough, cough. Lu Shu covered his mouth, staring with bright eyes. "Loud or not, I was just focused on eating. It's an appreciation of the food, a normal human reaction." Shen Cao nodded repeatedly. "2 wen in total," the shopkeeper immediately said. "Here, now it's your turn to respond," Lu Shu said. Shen Cao paid the money and went home together with him. "What did you just go do? What's in your hands?" Lu Shu noticed that Shen Cao came back with a small bundle in his hands. Shen Cao nodded, opened a corner of the bundle and let him feel the fabric. "I was afraid the shop would close if I went too late, so I hurriedly bought a few pieces. The sizes should be right. Do you like the colors? If not, we can return them." Lu Shu touched the fabric as he slowly caught on after Shen Cao finished speaking. "You bought these for me?" "Yeah, just a set of clothes for you. The ones you have are torn with a few holes, not suitable for going out. Since you're staying, you need some good clothes." Xiao Wu. Shen Cao was suddenly hugged by him, his hands stiff in place, not knowing where to put them. He said gently, "Aren't you feeling hot?" "It's too hot to bear." Lu Shu let go of his hands and walked forward. Shen Cao followed behind, carrying the bundle and the chicken coop, realizing that Lu Shu was walking faster than normal. "You're walking too fast. Save some energy, the road is still long." "It's long indeed." Lu Shu mumbled in agreement. Shen Cao paused, sensing something unusual in his tone. He stepped forward, grabbed his arm and turned to look at him. "What's wrong?" To his surprise, he saw Lu Shu's eyes were slightly reddened. Shen Cao panicked and asked, "What's wrong? Is it too windy?" Lu Shu hesitated for a moment and then laughed, "What wind? Clearly, I was moved. Shen Cao said slowly, could it be because of these clothes? Yet, Shen Cao didn't expect that such a simple gesture would move him to the brink of tears. He couldn't help but feel more pity for him. What kind of difficult days did he experience before? This for just a few pieces of clothing? He had never lacked clothes before, Lu Shu thought. Whether it was from his own family's shop or other stores, whenever there were new and good clothes, they would be sent to his house for him to choose from. It was just a trivial matter to pass the time for him. Moreover, the value of one piece of those clothing could possibly equal the money Ah Cao earned in 3 to 5 decades, yet the other person was willing to use his limited funds to buy him clothes. Is it nice? Lu Shu couldn't help but ask. Want to see for yourself? Shen Cao directly took out the clothes and held them in front of him. How is it? It's quite good. If it was a bit more delicate then it could match up to the clothes his family's servant wears. Thank you, I really like them. Lu Shu hugged him and didn't want to let go. Seeing his expression as if he had gained a treasure, Shen Cao was even more moved by his pitiful background. These rough and ugly clothes made him so happy, like a child. If only he had extra money now. If he returned to the capital in the future, he would buy him better clothes. Shen Cao thought of this and patted his head. Do you want to go to the capital? The capital? Why go to the capital? Lu Shu was puzzled. To visit. Visit who? Lu Shu suddenly thought of his engagement with someone from a certain family in the capital and shook his head. No, no. I'm not going. What's so fun in the capital? It's full of aristocrats. I'll be easily crushed there. I want to stay away from the capital and live freely and leisurely. Hey! Shen Cao didn't expect him to refuse vehemently. He lowered his head to look at the vegetable seeds and the chicken coop, freely and leisurely. Farming freely, dressing leisurely, Lu Shu smiled awkwardly. Shen Cao pondered for a moment, then suddenly burst into hearty laughter. You're right, you live authentically. Under the thin twilight, the two returned to the village, chatting and laughing. Passing by the bamboo weaver's house, Lu Shu curiously glanced into the fenced yard. Coincidentally, his eyes met with those of a middle-aged man. It startled him so much that he quickly ducked down and hid. What's wrong? Shen Cao also crouched down, whispering. I just made eye contact with him. So why are you acting guilty like a thief? Yet, why am I feeling guilty? I'm not a thief. Lu Shu stood up immediately, grinned at the man inside and shouted, Hey, have you had your meal? The man, ... What a coincidence. We haven't eaten either. After saying this, the man stood up. He had well-built muscles, a stubbled face and a scar on his eyebrow. He looked like someone that shouldn't be messed with. The moment he moved, Lu Shu screamed, grabbed Shen Cao and ran. Ah, help! Watch out for the chickens! Shen Cao protected the chicken coop with both hands, preventing them from falling out. That guy looks too scary. Back at home, Lu Shu patted his chest in relief. Luckily, I ran fast, otherwise, I would have been beaten to death. Why would he want to beat you? Don't know. Some people just want to hit others when they're not happy. He probably wouldn't. Why not? If he was prone to violence, the villagers would have known by now. True, even Cao Cao couldn't keep up with the village's gossip speed. Asterisk. Having already eaten in town, they had some free time that night. Shen Cao needed to organize the herbs and read, so Lu Shu went out for a stroll. The moon hung high in the sky, casting a faint light on the road. Swinging a straw fan and humming softly, he walked until he saw lights and heard lively voices not far away, prompting him to quicken his pace. As he got closer, the lively sounds became clearer. It turned out everyone in the residence had gathered in a family's yard after dinner, chatting and laughing. The moment he entered the yard, a loud voice called out, "Isn't this the guest from Brother Cao's house? Come, have a seat. Want some sunflower seeds? Thank you. Lu Shu gracefully joined in, grabbing a handful of sunflower seeds to eat. Soon, he noticed everyone quieting down, so he smiled. It's okay, continue chatting, you don't need to mind me. But how can we not mind? Aunt Zhu sitting next to him stared at him for a while, then chuckled and patted him on the back, almost sending him to the afterlife. Oh, we heard a few days ago that Brother Cao's house had a guest as handsome as him. Now we finally see that you are looking handsome indeed. How old are you? Where are you from? Are you married yet? I'm 17 and not married yet. Lu Shu chuckled. 17 is not young anymore. You're so handsome, why haven't you found a wife? I'm poor, Lu Shu casually replied. Don't be afraid of being poor. As long as you have hands and feet, it's enough, the key is not being lazy, Aunt Zhu comforted. Yeah, that's right. Unfortunately, I'm both poor and lazy, so I'm afraid I won't find a wife in this lifetime. How about I introduce you to someone? I have a niece. Thank you, sister. I don't have any plans to get married yet. Oh, what's with the sister? I'm much older than you, he. Aunt Zhu forgot the main point due to Lu Shu calling her sister. Others laughed too, and another aunt marveled, that family is really unlucky. Who says they're not? But that lad is really adept at everything, eating, drinking, gambling, you name it. It must be true. My cousin's sister-in-law's brother works for that family. I've seen him go to brothels every day with my own eyes. Lu Shu heard they were continuing the previous topic, so he quietly asked Aunt Zhu next to him, what happened? It's about a rich young master who frequents brothels, drinks, gambles, and harasses decent women. Oh, that's outrageous. Lu Shu immediately joined the conversation. Yeah, it's well known throughout the city. His parents felt ashamed, so they arranged a marriage for him with another man. Oh, it's hard to say which is more embarrassing. In the end, he took his wealth, brought a concubine, and ran away. Wow, which young master is this? Lu Shu was full of curiosity. It's from the nephew of my cousin's sister-in-law's brother's family, the previous aunt continued. He works in a restaurant in Jinling. Jinling? I know that place well. Which family is it? I might even know him. How could you know him? Oh, right, the family's surname is. Oh, yes, it's Lu. Lu Shu's smile froze and he raised an eyebrow in confusion. Isn't it Lu Lang? No, it's Lu Shu. Lu Shu, ... Why did you have to directly point at me? Eating sunflower seeds for a while, he found himself involved in the conversation. What happened? Does young Master Lu really have a concubine? That's the news from Jinling. Do you think it's reliable? Besides, for someone who almost lives in a brothel, how could he not have a concubine? Perhaps, he goes to the brothel just to listen to music and drink. Do you really believe that? The aunt turned to ask the men in the yard. When you guys go to the brothel, do you leave the young women alone and just drink? Do you really do that? The men fell into silence, and the women shed tears. Lu Shu, ... There's some truth to that. Even him was almost convinced. End chapter. Dandy escapes from marriage. Chapter 8. Is there a possibility that young Master Lu is just inherently charming, outstanding in demeanor, graceful and able to move freely without being captivated by any woman? After reciting what he had learned in life, Lu Shu cleared his throat and declared, perhaps he believes there's no woman more beautiful than him who can captivate him, so he can wander through a sea of flowers without being touched by a single leaf. Not possible, Aunt Zhu replied. Just a moment ago, you were praising me for being the most handsome. Women's words are indeed deceiving. No man can completely avoid romantic entanglements, especially a wealthy young master like him, Aunt Zhu's husband chimed in. Unless he has some issues, like a hidden illness. Several other men agreed, that's right. Lu Shu was surprised, a hidden illness. Yes. Men understand men the best, right? Aunt Zhu looked at the men, and they nodded in agreement. Lu Shu exclaimed, impossible. Or is it? Lu Shu became perplexed, recalling the times he went to the brothel with his brothers. All of them were enjoying the company of women while he sat alone in a room listening to music and watching performances. Could it be that he was truly the only one appreciating the music and dance? The questioning gazes from the courtesans, wavering between wanting to speak and holding back, might not be expressions of shyness but rather doubts about his abilities, pitying him for his hidden ailment. Lu Shu stood up abruptly. Young man, what's wrong? Did the bench scorch your bottom? Aunt Zhu asked with concern. It's getting late, I need to go rest. Until next time. Lu Shu turned and quickly walked out of the courtyard. Once he felt no one was paying attention, he sprinted all the way back. What happened? Why are you in such a hurry? Shen Cao, who was washing clothes in the courtyard, saw him rush in like a gust of wind. After a moment, Lu Shu slowly walked back and looked at Shen Cao with hesitation. What's wrong? Shen Cao asked again. Lu Shu scratched his head, unable to ask the question on his mind, so he decided to squat down and help Shen Cao with the laundry. Where did you go to have fun? Shen Cao picked a melon seed shell from his sleeve. To the house where sunflowers are planted. That's Sister Xiang's place. Oh, it's quite lively there, he he he. Yes, they have a lot of melon seeds. Everyone likes to go to their place to cool off and snack on melon seeds in the evening. Shen Cao said. Why didn't you go? I'm not used to it, Shen Cao smiled. They are too friendly. I find it a bit overwhelming. What's difficult about that? Just speak politely to people and speak nonsense when needed. It's a good way to pass the time. Lu Shu never had trouble socializing, but Shen Cao was different. In his childhood, due to his frail health, he mostly stayed in their mansion, with his elder brother handling social interactions. He spent his days immersed in books and rarely interacted with outsiders. If not for this journey to see the outside world, he might still be that bookish recluse who doesn't distinguish the 5 grains. Wait, could he even distinguish the 5 grains now? Oh well. Why are you sighing? Lu Shu asked. I sigh for my lack of talent to contribute to the world, entering the mortal realm for so many years in vain, Shen Cao sighed deeply. Lu Shu remained silent for a moment, then said, Speak in plain language. I'm useless. Sigh. What are you sighing about now? Sitting on a numb butt. Shen Cao laughed and stood up, placing a stool behind him. Have a seat. What about the clothes? I'll wash them. Shen Cao finished washing the clothes and hung them on the rope to dry. A person who can wash clothes can't be considered useless, Lu Shu said as he crossed his legs. My father once told me a saying, born with a talent, bound to be useful, even if 1,000 gold pieces are scattered, they will return. Hearing him using this saying to encourage himself, Shen Cao felt warmth but also a bit amused. In the next moment, Lu Shu confidently continued, it means that businessmen should not be discouraged by temporary losses. A smile can turn adversity into a fortune. There's nothing a smile can't solve. Shen Cao, ... In one sentence, he made a man question if he wasted 10 years studying in seclusion. Late that night, Lu Shu tossed and turned as he was unable to sleep due to the events of the evening. Finally, he decided to get up and go outside for some fresh air. However, he noticed a faint light coming from the adjacent room through the door crack. He knocked on the door and heard a "Please come in," so he pushed it open. He found Shen Cao reading by candlelight. Carefully entering, he spoke in a low voice as if afraid of disturbing him, "It's so late, and you're still reading, medical books. No, Shen Kao showed him the book cover. I can't understand it. I get dizzy when I saw too many characters. Lu Shu waved his hand. Shen Kao chuckled softly, his gaze returning to the book. As candle wax dripped down, gradually solidifying into irregular shapes at the end of the candle, Lu Shu leaned on the table, staring at the wax for a long time. Several times he looked up, but Shen Kao showed no signs of drowsiness. Lu Shu couldn't help but admire his concentration. Curious, he asked, why don't you participate in the imperial examination? Shen Kao's eyes flickered slightly, knowing that by now, he should have already headed to the examination hall. Unfortunately, he was no longer in the capital, and his recent experiences diminished his eagerness for the imperial examination. More precisely, the urgency was not as strong. The timing is not right, Shen Kao said. In the capital, the powerful and influential gathered, creating an atmosphere of prosperity that almost misled him into thinking the whole world was like this. If he hadn't witnessed the lives of common people firsthand, experiencing their true hardships, he wouldn't truly understand the difficulties and challenges they faced. After reading the classics for so many years, understanding the wisdom of sages, knowing astronomy and geography, but failing to grasp the essentials of life such as firewood, rice, oil, and salt, unable to provide practical solutions to the struggles of the common people, what use is there for a top scholar in the imperial examination other than to shine brightly for his family? Indeed, the spring exams are almost over, and you're too late, Lu Shu said. Shen Kao nodded with a smile, yes, it's too late. But I believe in you, you will definitely pass. Thank you. Once again, silence fell between them. Lu Shu propped up his chin, his gaze wandering around the room, eventually settling on Shen Kao's face. The warm glow cast a sunset-like radiance on his fair face, and even his eyelashes, which was like raven feathers, caught the light. His slow and solemn movements in turning the pages seemed out of place in this worn-out and rough environment. Lu Shu couldn't figure out where he should belong. Certainly not in the brothels, gambling dens, or taverns that he frequented. Neither did he seem like the pretentious type found in academies. Suddenly, a thought struck him. Ah Kao, have you ever considered becoming a monk? Shen Kao paused. Hey? Why would I want to become a monk? I see a Buddha's aura shining on you. Shen Kao looked at him in silence, then blew out a breath, extinguishing the candle, plunging the room into darkness. Is the Buddha's aura still shining now? No, no. I must have been blind. It's so dark in here. Where are you? Lu Shu reached out, frantically groping in the dark until a hand took hold of his, calming him down. Light returned to the room. Lu Shu patted his chest, took a deep breath, and looked at the person in front of him. Noticing the warmth in the hand holding him, subtle emotions surfaced between them, but before he could grasp them, Shen Kao let go of his hand, pushed him toward his own room, and said gently, "All right, it's late, you should rest. What about you? Are you going to read more?" "I won't read any more, I need to sleep, too." "Okay, then I wish you sweet dreams." Lu Shu closed the door, lay on the bed, and soon drowsiness overwhelmed him. However, as he closed his eyes, he suddenly woke up. Wait, wasn't I planning to ask him about hidden ailment? ******. In the early morning, sunlight dispersed the mist and fell into the small courtyard through the window lattice. Lu Shu opened his eyes and found himself locking eyes with a pair of chicken eyes. He blinked in confusion, then suddenly grabbed the little chick that had climbed onto him and interrogated, "How did you end up here? Don't you have a home?" "Chirp chirp. What's going on?" Hearing the commotion, Shen Kao came to his door and saw him staring at the little chick with wide eyes. He couldn't help but laugh. Then, he walked in, picked up the chick and looked at Lu Shu's smooth and fair shoulder for a moment, then turned to the window. "Is it too hot?" "Yeah, the weather is getting warmer." Lu Shu lazily sat up, and his loosely draped clothes slid off his shoulder. He yawned, looking at Shen Cao, then suddenly stopped. In his mind, an image inexplicably appeared, the courtesan doing the same, slowly peeling off her clothes in front of him. However, instead of being aroused, he helped her fix her clothes and expressed concern by saying, "Be careful not to catch a cold." Does he have a problem? The courtesan was just doing her job. Or does he really have a hidden ailment? Be careful not to catch a cold, Shen Cao coughed, helping him pull his clothes back up. Lu Shu stared at him with wide eyes, as if he had seen a ghost. He fixated on him, almost blurting out the question, "Do you also have a hidden ailment?" "It's easy to catch such ailments during spring," Shen Cao explained. "Oh." Lu Shu got up, put on his new clothes, rough fabric but well-fitting. In a cheerful mood, he took the little chick from Shen Cao, walked out of the room, and saw the shiny and well-maintained ball. "How come you're back for alms so soon? Or are you on an alms-giving tour?" "Amitabha, may benefactor Xiao Wu be well," said Hui Shang solemnly. "What's wrong with him?" Lu Shu asked Shen Cao in a low voice. Shen Cao covered his mouth and replied, "He's probably hungry." After finishing the porridge, Hui Shang's expression finally gained some semblance of normalcy. He said, "Have you heard what the people in the village are saying?" Shen Cao asked, "What?" "It was said that a young master from Jinling has run away with his concubine. Seems like he came with a bit of gossip flavor." Lu Shu quickly interrupted him, "Enough of your gossip. A monk like you shouldn't be so eager to believe in rumors. Do you want me to tell your abbot? The abbot has passed away." "Oh," Lu Shu thought, "I really should shut up. I'm sorry. But his illegitimate son has become our new abbot. Your temple is really chaotic." Lu Shu blinked his eyes and suddenly lit up. "Come, tell us the stories inside." Two heads quickly huddled together, whispering, murmuring, eyebrows flying, and colors dancing. Shen Cao, ... After washing the dishes, he found these two still gossiping and got a bit of a headache. "Can you talk about something else?" The two fell silent, then simultaneously looked at him. Lu Shu suddenly sighed, "Even a monk has an illegitimate child, and I don't." "Ah, neither do I," Hui Shang said. "Are you two really feeling sad about this?" Lu Shu's old problem resurfaced. He stood up, pulled Shen Cao to the kitchen and whispered, "You've read so many medical books, have you ever come across anything about hidden ailments?" Shen Cao raised an eyebrow and turned his head stiffly to look at him. "You? Not me." Lu Shu instinctively denied, It's Hui Shang." "Him? Yet, he has a hidden ailment, that's why he became a monk." "Is that so?" "Yeah, so have you ever read any medical books on this topic? Can you help him?" Shen Cao turned his head and glanced at Hui Shang, who was sitting at the table picking his nose after scratching his head. He shook his head, "No, I can't help him." Lu Shu, it's the end. End chapter. Dandy escapes from marriage. Chapter 9. Why are you so absent-minded? Shen Cao worriedly asked. "Oh, it's nothing. I'm fine, couldn't be better." Lu Shu used a tough tone to conceal his heartache. "Then why are you scratching head?" "Just thinking, it's inevitable to rack my brains." "But you're scratching Hui Shang's clever head," Shen Cao reminded. Lu Shu, ... Lu Shu suddenly stopped, looked down at this shiny bald head, rubbed it as if trying to please Hui Shang and smiled, "Master, are you satisfied with my service?" Hui Shang lifted his expressionless face and said, "Unfortunately, it's still a bit lacking, otherwise sparks would have flown." Lu Shu awkwardly smiled, preoccupied with hidden troubles. He cautiously sat beside him and bumped his arm, to which Hui Shang quipped, "If you don't want your arm, you can donate it to our temple." Bumping him again, Lu Shu asked, are there any requirements to being a monk? Do you want to become a monk? Hui Shang looked at him unexpectedly. Just asking. Do you have requirements like family background, height, weight, and such? Hui Shang assessed him and shook his head. You won't do. Why? How can you say that? Lu Shu got defensive. Your six senses are not pure. It will become pure eventually. Even when a courtesan dances and undresses next to me, I have no reaction. Isn't that the same as being monk? You have to shave your head, Hui Shang added. No, that's not happening. Imagining himself with a bald egghead, Lu Shu immediately dismissed the idea. Why do you even have thoughts of becoming a monk? Shen Cao, who had been silent, suddenly asked. I don't. I'm just curious. Aren't you curious about how to become a monk? Not curious, Shen Cao shook his head. I am curious. So, your thirst for knowledge is so strong. Are you curious about how 3 women and 105 men live together? Shen Cao regretfully said. What? Is there such a thing? Excitement sparkled in Lu Shu's eyes. You have to tell me all about it. Hui Shang looked at him with pity. Anyone who had read a bit of water margin wouldn't be fooled this badly. Shen Cao only told Lu Shu a bit at the beginning, but it was enough to get him eager for more. However, Shen Cao ended the conversation, citing gardening as the reason. The 3 of them went to the vegetable garden, where Lu Shu caught a chick. Shouldn't we find a place to keep them? Don't we have chicken coops? Shen Cao said. Aren't they too small? We can't keep them in cages forever, right? So, should we keep them or not? You guys have grown this big and it's all thanks to divine mercy, Hui Shang sighed, causing distress for the 2 men. Go find the bamboo weaver, he can make something for this, Shen Cao suggested. All right. Lu Shu took Shen Cao's seeds. You go, I'll stay and plant the vegetables. Shen Cao observed his expression and smiled. Are you afraid of him? Who said that? I'm not afraid. I just don't want to talk to an ugly guy, Lu Shu stammered. At this, Hui Shang raised his head abruptly, a hint of pride flashing across his face. Amused, Shen Cao said, all right, I'll go find him and see if there's a solution. Go ahead, be careful, Lu Shu encouraged. After Shen Cao left, Lu Shu looked at the seeds and then at the vegetable plot. He felt that their plot was different from others. Gazing into the distance, he asked, why is the soil in other people's plots so loose? Because they've plowed it. Why isn't ours loose? It haven't been plowed. Then how do we plow? He looked at Hui Shang, and Hui Shang looked at him, shrugging, guess why I became a monk? Because of unrequited love. Because I didn't want to plow the land, Hui Shang cleverly remarked. Alms are much simpler. Don't tempt me to become a monk, Lu Shu said, covering his chest. Sharpening the knife doesn't delay the chopping of firewood. Since they wanted to cultivate the land, they had to plow it first. He went home to find tools and easily found the small hoe that Shen Cao used for gathering herbs. It was about the length of his forearm, lightweight and compact. This should be easy. Lu Shu swung it in the air a few times. Just need to loosen the soil, right? Yeah. You plow here, I'll go do something, Hui Shang said, gazing into the distance, lifting his robe, and walking away. Where are you going? To pick your roots. Lu Shu, ... Lu Shu punched the air in his direction, then started digging in the ground with the small hoe. This is not simple at all. After a short while, he exhausted his strength, disregarding the issue of cleanliness. He sat on the ground, looking up helplessly at the sky. A shadow fell over him, and Shen Cao looked down at him. After a moment, Shen Cao asked in confusion, what are you doing? Plowing the ground, Lu Shu said. Oh, plowing. If you didn't say it, I would have thought you were digging graves. Shen Kao looked at the large pit in front of him. I'm loosening the soil, you wouldn't understand. Shen Kao indeed didn't understand. As a pampered individual, how could he know these details? Was this really the way to plant vegetables? Look, that piece of land is so loose, different from your dead land. Right now, I'm reviving it, Lu Shu confidently explained. How about it? Am I not impressive? Impressive, impressive, Shen Kao, fully aware of his lack of knowledge about farming, agreed and said, luckily, we have you. Lu Shu grinned, his braid standing even higher. Satisfied, he said, then leave it to me. I guarantee I'll grow a large patch of good vegetables for you. By the way, what did the bamboo weaver say? Well, he said he would help us make a larger chicken coop. We just need to close the chickens in at night, Shen Kao explained. That's good. Is it expensive? It's free. Free? Is there a catch? Lu Shu furrowed his brows, realizing things might not be that simple. Although he wasn't involved in managing the household's affairs, he had picked up some knowledge and knew that the more something was claimed to be free, the more costly it could be. Did he mention any other conditions? Yes. See, I knew there was a catch. What conditions? Help him write a letter. He can't read or write and wants to send a letter to his distant relatives to express that he missed them. Aren't there other people in the village who can read and write? Lu Shu curiously asked. Shen Kao shook his head. Wow, this place is truly my haven of joy. Lu Shu felt happy at the thought of not having someone constantly berating him for his lack of literacy skills. However, upon second thought, he chuckled, but you could make a fortune by writing letters, couldn't you? Earn a coin or two for each letter, and you wouldn't have to toil away gathering herbs. Shen Kao shook his head again, just writing a letter is not much effort, so there's no need for payment. But rare things are valuable. Your skills are unique here, and they need you. Isn't this a mutually beneficial business? Lu Shu couldn't understand why. With such a good deal in hand, Shen Kao refused to take it and preferred to eat coarse food and work hard in the fields. They're not wealthy and it's a letter for their family. I can't profit from them for that, Shen Kao adhered to his principles. With the two unable to see eye to eye, they fell silent and went about their respective tasks. Shen Kao returned home to cook, while Lu Shu continued digging and planting. At noon, Hui Shang returned with a handful of ear roots, noticing that the atmosphere at home had changed, and the friendly laughter was absent. He surveyed the surroundings and walked over to Lu Shu, the one with a looser tongue, and asked, "What happened to you guys?" Lu Shu, eager to vent his frustrations, immediately recounted the morning's dispute. You see, is he not lacking in common sense? We're in this ghastly state of poverty and he refuses to earn this money. Why is he such a stickler? Ahem, I can hear you, Shen Kao said without turning around as he busied himself around the stove. I want you to hear it, Lu Shu raised his voice. Amitabha. How can you say that? Lu Shu nudged Hui Shang's arm, indicating that he should persuade Shen Kao. When considering others, shouldn't you first think about your own situation? Yes, Hui Shang nodded. Seizing the opportunity, Lu Shu turned back to Shen Kao. You see, even the master monk agrees. Hui Shang remained silent. In his mind, being a master was one thing, and being a bald donkey was another. Shen Kao glanced at them helplessly but remained silent. Brother Cao is not only a stickler but also simple-minded, rigid, strictly adheres to his principles, talks about benevolence, righteousness, morality, and empty words, Hui Shang remarked. Hey, you bald donkey, watch your language. Lu Shu frowned, looking displeased. How can you say he's simple-minded? I think you're just jealous of him since you're bald. He's originally. He's smart, okay? He's read more books than you've had meals. Talking about benevolence, righteousness, and morality. If he wasn't righteous, would he still let you come and seek alms with his dire situation? If he wasn't kind, I might have starved to death long ago. As Lu Shu spoke, his voice gradually softened. He bit his lip, glanced slowly at Shen Cao and immediately blushed in embarrassment. He took slow steps toward him, lowered his head and said, "Ah Cao, I'm sorry. I shouldn't have called you a stickler. Thank you for taking me in. It's okay. I'm not angry." Seeing his apologetic demeanor resembling a meek kitten retracting its claws, Shen Cao couldn't help but pat his head. "What you said makes sense." Unexpectedly, Lu Shu lifted his head, blinked, and asked, "So, will you?" "No." "All right." Lu Shu stood up straight, patted his chest, and assured, "I won't pursue this business anymore. I won't let you starve, anyways." "Oh." Shen Cao raised an eyebrow. "Oh." Hui Shang coldly chuckled, picked up a ladle and stirred the vegetables in the pot. "Have you said enough? The vegetables are burning. If we don't take them off the stove soon, we'll all be doomed." Lu Shu, ... End chapter. Dandy escapes from marriage. Chapter 10. In the afternoon, Shen Cao went up the mountain to gather herbs, while Lu Shu slept for a while before getting up to sow seeds. When buying seeds this time, he repeatedly emphasized not to buy chili seeds, so this time he bought some real vegetables. "What are you planting?" Hui Shang watched him scatter seeds and casually asked. "Cilantro. It seems you're really racking your brains to avoid my almsgiving. Don't you like cilantro?" Hui Shang nodded, thinking he had a change of heart. However, Lu Shu smirked and said, "Who cares? I like it." Next, they needed to plant tomatoes, radishes, cucumbers, and more. So tired. After working the whole afternoon, only 2 plots of land were planted. Thinking about the vegetables he used to casually taste and then discard, Lu Shu felt a pang of regret. If only I had eaten a few more bites earlier, planting vegetables wouldn't be so troublesome. Plowing the fields under the midday sun, sweat drops onto the earth, Hui Shang sighed. "Move your butt, I'm counting to 5. Lu Shu gritted his teeth. Hui Shang, ... After the sun set, Lu Shu returned home and saw that Shen Cao had also returned and was sitting upright in the yard. However, upon closer inspection, Lu Shu noticed his calf muscles were shaking. What happened? He quickly squatted down to check. "It's nothing, I just slipped a bit on the mountain path because I was walking too fast. I'll be fine after a short rest." Shen Cao gasped. "Did you fell?" Lu Shu couldn't help but worry. "No." Shen Cao waved his hand, supporting himself to stand up. "Are you hungry? I'll cook. Don't move anymore. Just rest well." Lu Shu pressed him back into the chair. "Tonight, Hui Shang and I will cook." "Hui Shang, let's go." "Hui Shang, do you remember I'm just a monk who's here to beg for alms? I'm not as easygoing as him. If you don't cook, go beg for alms elsewhere." Lu Shu said sternly. "I'm coming, sir." Hui Shang readily followed. Soon, the kitchen echoed with clattering sounds. Shen Cao rubbed his calf as he listened to the noise inside. He turned his head and saw Lu Shu waving a ladle at Hui Shang's directions. He silently smiled. It seemed like the house was really becoming lively. Here was different from the capital. In this wilderness, even the nearest neighbor required a bit of a walk reach. Although he didn't like noise, every time night fell and he was sitting alone in the yard, he occasionally felt the loneliness spreading in the dark. "I've told you to add salt, why did you put sugar, you bald donkey? This is obviously salt. If not, I'll twist my head off for you to use as seasoning." "Don't say that, it's making me want to drink." The kitchen erupted into a quarrel, mingling with the sizzling sounds from the pot, easing some tension from Shen Cao's tired body. He got up and walked in, smiling slightly. "The pot is about to burn." Asterisk asterisk asterisk. After the meal was served, dead silence fell. Lu Shu poked the dark pancake and said, "All right, no one say anything. Let's just make do with it." Shen Cao nodded approvingly, lowering his head to silently eat the pancake. "I'll go see if there's anywhere to beg for alms." Hui Shang stood up. "Bald donkey!" Lu Shu called him with a helpless tone. "Understood, I'll beg some for you, too." Hui Shang waved without looking back. "Very sensible, master." Lu Shu turned to look at Shen Cao, and both burst into laughter. Hui Shang left again, leaving only the two people in the yard, yet it didn't quiet down. Chirp chirp chirp. Shen Cao put down his book, opened the window and watched Lu Shu crouching in the yard, playing with the little chicks in the coop. He smiled, "Are you still not planning to rest?" Chirp chirp chirp. Lu Shu called for a while, seeing the chicks ignoring him, he came to the window, looking distressed. "So boring, no one wants to play with me except the chicks." In this remote wilderness, there was no such thing as nightlife. After being well behaved for just a few days, Lu Shu couldn't resist the temptation and had an intense desire to indulge in alcohol and pleasure. "Is there anything fun to do here?" "Fun?" Shen Cao pondered, reading. Lu Shu raised his hand and promptly closed his window. Shen Cao chuckled from inside. "I'm going out to have some fun." He strolled around aimlessly and unconsciously arrived at Sister Xiang's courtyard again. There were lively conversations and occasional sounds of cracking of sunflower seeds. Were they talking about him again? He swiftly hid behind the courtyard gate, eavesdropping with his ear pressed against the door. Faintly, he caught keywords like quarrel and running away from home. His heart skipped a beat. "Ah! They're cursing me behind my back again." He wanted to listen to what they were saying about him this time. "What are you doing here?" A rough voice sounded behind him and startled him greatly. His steps faltered and he stumbled into the courtyard. Instantly, it fell silent inside, and everyone turned to look. Lu Shu finally saw the person clearly. It was the bamboo weaver. He coughed twice and acted unfazed as he said nonchalantly, "I came to play." "What about you? Why were you sneaking behind me?" The bamboo weaver remained silent, handing something to Lu Shu before turning to leave. Lu Shu looked down and found a large chicken coop. "It's already done so quickly." He opened his mouth to ask, but the bamboo weaver had disappeared into the darkness without a trace. Could he have overheard something? The people inside came to the door, surveying the surroundings. Not finding any sign of the bamboo weaver, they murmured. "Probably not, right? It would be awkward if he did." Aunt Zhu's expression looked complicated. "Whatever, let it go. Anyway, we're just stating facts." "Was what you were talking about related to him?" Lu Shu asked. Aunt Zhu nodded, "Yes, his wife and him argued every day, and she ran away from home." "Clearly, she ran away with a stranger. I've seen that stranger lying injured on the roadside. The bamboo weaver saved him, but unexpectedly, that man repaid kindness with enmity and ran off with his wife." Sister Xiang spat, "Unlucky, but I hope that man's life goes downhill forever." The others burst into laughter, and Lu Shu felt an arrow pierce his chest. Putting on a fake smile, he laughed a few times before carrying the chicken coop back home. Ah cow, do you know what I just heard?" As soon as Lu Shu entered the house, he couldn't wait to share the gossip with Shen Cao. "Yes, I know." Listening, Shen Cao picked up his book again. "Really?" Seeing his indifferent reaction, Lu Shu's enthusiasm diminished. Pointing to the chicken coop, he asked, "This thing looks quite sturdy. Should we change the nest for the chicks now?" "Okay." The two of them put the chicks into the coop one by one, placing it in the yard. Afterward, they went to wash up and sleep. However, it rained heavily the next day. Lu Shu first heard the sound of raindrops hitting the window. Thinking that today would finally be cooler, he suddenly remembered the chickens in the yard. Sitting up in a hurry, he rushed outside and saw Shen Cao busily carrying the wet chicken coop into the house, his body already soaked through. He quickly grabbed an umbrella and held it over Shen Cao, taking the wet chicken coop from him. Looking up at the dripping wet Shen Cao, raindrops rolled down his face, and his white clothes clung to his body, faintly revealing some skin. He was momentarily stunned with his eyes slowly widening. Could it be? Could it be? Some people might appear gentle and frail on the surface, but hidden beneath their clothes could be quite a bit of muscle. Go change your clothes first to avoid catching a cold. I'll handle this. Later, we can chat about matters about muscles. Lu Shu succinctly suggested, his eyes slightly wide. Hey. Lu Shu glanced at the tightly closed door before returning to his room to fetch his tattered clothes. Due to being torn by bandits, they were no longer suitable to wear. He decided to use them as rags to dry the chicks one by one, continuously blowing air to dry them thoroughly. After the rain stopped, they went up the mountain to gather herbs. Sitting in the house, they entertained themselves with the chicks for a while and then rested around the chicken coop. I think I'll read a book, Shen Cao suggested. I'll go play with grasshoppers. Shen Cao, ... Shen Cao asked, where are there grasshoppers? Oh right, you don't have any grasshoppers at your place. Sigh, not even a single grasshopper. Lu Shu propped his chin on his hand, looking bored as he turned the teacup. No grasshoppers, but there are flies. Do you want them? Shen Cao offered. Thanks, but no thanks. All right, let's get to the point. Honestly, how did you get those muscles? Lu Shu suddenly pointed to Shen Cao's waist and abdomen. Following his gaze, Shen Cao lowered his head to take a few glances before replying, didn't I tell you? I was persuaded by my parents to exercise when I was a child, and then I just got used to it. Got used to it. Yeah, I wake up early every day and run along the road for a while. Nonsense, I haven't seen it. That's because you don't wake up early. Oh. Feeling awkward, Lu Shu walked to the doorway, staring at the water dripping from the eaves. He noticed a figure in through the curtain of rain, carrying two large baskets on a shoulder pole. Feeling intrigued, he remarked, even in such heavy rain, someone is still out working. Life probably forced them to, Shen Cao sighed. Hey, it looks like that person fell. Lu Shu picked up the umbrella hanging that was on the wall and hurried outside. When he got closer, he realized that it was the bamboo weaver. He was struggling to get up from the muddy ground and was covered in mud all over. Even his fearsome appearance seemed somewhat pitiful. Are you all right? Lu Shu approached, holding the umbrella over him. The bamboo craftsman shook his head, picked up the sweet potatoes that had fallen on the ground, threw them into the basket, and continued walking with the pole on his shoulder. It's pouring like this and you're still working. Come to our place to rest, wait until the rain stops before you go, Lu Shu suggested. No need. The heavy burden on the bamboo craftsman made his already rough voice sounded even deeper. How are you going back like this? Leaving sweet potatoes to soak in the rain isn't good, Lu Shu said. The bamboo weaver hesitated. Come on, let's go. There's no woman in our house so you don't need to be shy. Lu Shu urged. The bamboo weaver said, I'm not shy. Then what is it? A bit nervous. Lu Shu, ... Complimenting is one thing, but don't use that expression, come on. Hurry inside. Shen Cao waited at the courtyard gate. As they approached, he went forward to help the bamboo craftsman with his burden. Unprepared, he almost strained his waist. Heavy hey. Lu Shu empathized, recalling how he tried to help earlier and ended up with strained waist. Shen Cao nodded awkwardly. The two baskets of sweet potatoes were placed under the eaves. The three of them sat inside, creating a somewhat peculiar atmosphere. The bamboo weaver looked like a child who had done something wrong, keeping his head down and remaining silent. Xiao Wu, your clothes are wet. Go change, Shen Cao said, then turned to the bamboo craftsman with a smile. Big brother, did you already send the letter? Only then did the bamboo weaver made some movement. He nodded slowly and mumbled, thank you. If you need to send letters in the future, feel free to come to me anytime, or I can teach you how to write. Shen Cao offered. No need, no need. I'm a rough guy and can't learn that stuff, the bamboo weaver waved his hand. Listening to them chatting outside, Lu Shu decided not to interrupt and instead tried on the new clothes Shen Cao had bought for him. It wasn't until the rain outside gradually stopped that he opened the door and asked inquisitively, did he leave already? Yeah, Shen Cao responded, casting a meaningful glance at him. What's that on the table? He gave us sweet potatoes. He seems like a good person, Lu Shu commented as he went out to get some water. Shen Cao coughed, glanced at him with a hesitant expression and said, you're wearing my inner robes. Lu Shu looked down and realized it was true. Their clothes were left to dry in the courtyard and might have gotten mixed up when they were collected. He quickly took off the outer garment. Go change inside, Shen Cao advised with his hand supporting his forehead. Oh right, sorry. Lu Shu hastily returned to the room, changed out of the inner robes, and when he came back, his face was flushed with embarrassment. I didn't mean to. Yeah, I know. Shen Cao watched his blushing cheeks and couldn't help but smile. Due to the rain, nobody went up the mountain or worked in the fields that day. Consequently, more people gathered in the family courtyard that evening, and this time, Lu Shu brought Shen Cao along. As they entered the courtyard, they overheard the women continuing yesterday's topic, discussing the bamboo weaver's tragic life. This story is so outdated. Why are we still talking about it? Lu Shu walked in cheerfully. I brought a storyteller for you. Let's listen to a real gossip. Something thrilling. Does Brother Cao also tell such stories? Aunt Zhu asked curiously. What kind of stories can these scholars have? They're probably reciting poems and composing essays. We wouldn't understand that stuff anyway, Sister Xiang said confidently. Lu Shu smirked mysteriously and hummed, it's a story about 3 women and 105 men being together. How about that? Do you want to hear it? The audience was momentarily stunned, then the melon seeds were passed around, the stools were brought out and everyone collectively turned their gaze to Shen Cao, their eyes shining with anticipation. End chapter.